So I was thinking of doing like a little intro episode to the series instead of just getting into how I actually made the game.
Yeah.
I thought before that I'll do why I made the game. Okay, so I guess this is episode 0.
This is a story that I want to hear. Like, I've been. Oh, have we started?
Maybe. I'll just throw together some kind of intro in editing. Don't worry.
Yeah. You put it together in post.
Yeah. Just like if we just talk for like 5 hours straight, I can probably cut a good 5 minutes out of it and just like.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, I've been messing around with this game since its inception, almost. Like the first build I played of it didn't have a title screen.
But I think that's like the only build you've played of it, right? Maybe.
No. I've played like 3 or 4 different builds of it. The first build I played there was no other characters in it. It was just the world, and you were the lead character, the Foxy Cleopatra. And you just had to. You gave it to me. You said, try and break this, like see if you can get to places that you can't get to and stuff like that. And I remember I probably spent a good hour and a half just trying to jump up a box to see if I could get on a rooftop somewhere to try and break the game. And you said to me that there were places that you knew it could break, but I couldn't break it.
Honestly, in the finished game, there is still one way to just completely break it and escape the level.
Okay.
But it's like it's so specific that I'm like, I'm not fixing it. Nobody's going to come across that unless they are trying to break the game.
And it takes hours and hours. And you do see it. I mean, people are still, to this day, finding ways to break Shadow of the Colossus, for example.
Yeah.
Like a game that's nearly 2 decades old or something like that. It's crazy the amount of time people will put into one game. And if your game becomes that popular, someone will find it. You know what I mean? If it achieves its cult status and people start playing it loads, they will find that way to break the game. But I spent a long time trying to break it, and I'm not a tester or anything, but I did mess around and I couldn't anyway. But that was my first experience of the game, and I played I think the almost complete version.
What I remember the last time you played it was when there wasn't a day 7 yet. There was the first 6 days, and the core mechanics.
Okay, no, because I think the last time I played it was before you put the tutorial and stuff in.
Yeah, there's no tutorial yet. The time of day just like jumped forward. There was no smooth transition.
Yeah. The time of day did just jump forward. I didn't know you had put the smooth transition in. Obviously,
it was
you
weird.
didn't send me that version because you
the
like
time of day is like one of the first things I made, but actually fixing it up to look good was like one of the last things I made. Yeah. So for the longest time, it looked like garbage.
After a couple of playthroughs, it made sense to me. I sort of knew what was. Well, after the first playthrough, I was like, oh, okay, so this is what's happening. I can only do this set number of things in the day.
Well, I remember you were very confused at first because I didn't explain anything.
No, that was the way you wanted to do it. You wanted to just throw me in and see.
That is literally the only reason there was a tutorial. Is because I handed it to you and you were like, "What is this? Like, I don't understand."
I don't know what's going on, kind of thing.
But hopefully, it's a bit clearer now.
But I mean, you can't. It's not really a tutorial as such as it. It's like a flash screen, because I think you sent me the flash screen that you built for it to show what the actual goal is, or not.
It's just like 5 quick pages explaining what is this game.
Yeah, what's going to happen and stuff like that. And I think it is important to have that kind of accessibility, if you like, in a game. But anyway, you wanted to tell me why you built this game in the first place, because I still don't know to this day.
So back in 2015, okay, got to cast your mind back.
Oh wow!
So the distant year of 2015.
2015. Let me just get into Uptown Funk was top of the charts. Adele had just released the seminal "Hello," and Avengers was probably just starting. I don't know, maybe a little bit before that.
I think Avengers has been going a lot longer than that.
The Martian was probably in cinemas.
Yeah, I think that's more about the right time.
It was spacey. Everyone was still hungover from Interstellar, looking for something new to cling to. Mad Max got a reboot that year. Okay, I'm there. I'm in 2015.
You're in the mindset.
I'm right there. People are still using MP3s.
Yeah, I mean, I still use an MP3, but I'm a relic of the past. But anyways, back in 2015, I decided, as good as Mad Max is, I'm sick of everything. I want to leave, go to a new country. But in order to do that, in order to get the visa, you need to have a degree. I mean, if you have a degree, getting a visa is so much easier for a lot of countries.
We both know this. We both moved to different countries now.
That's true, yeah. It's, do you have a degree?
I don't.
It's, you just snuck in with the old marriage.
Yeah, I have a foreign wife. That's how I got away with it.
So, yeah, in order to get a degree, I decided to go back to uni. And I've got like 2 half-finished degrees.
Okay.
I had one in like advanced computing and one in art.
Can you continue on those?
Yeah, it was like a foundation degree where you have to go do the 3rd year to get the full degree.
That makes sense.
And it's looking like, I could do advanced computing and it'd be like a really useful degree. Or I could do art where it's like incredibly easy to just like, do anything and
especially
pass.
for someone with the talents that you have.
That's a sweeping statement right there.
Yeah, well.
But
we're talking to people who watch your YouTube channel, man. It's obvious you have some artistic talents.
It's been 4 years since I uploaded. Nobody watches my YouTube channel, okay?
Yeah, but you do have subscribers, so, For anyone who wants to see, Balbot has a back catalogue of videos, and lots of them are very good.
One of them's good, The Adventures of Andrew. The rest, trash.
The Adventures of Andrew.
But, yeah, so I decided to go back to college and do the easy one, which is the art course. And it was like a generic digital media course, where for some reason there was like all kind of people on. There's like a lot of photographers. Maybe like half the group was photographers.
Everyone's a photographer now, though, aren't they?
Yeah, there was 300 people on this course, and half of them were photographers. And then there's maybe like 2 animators. There was 4 game design students, like a bunch of other people. Weirdly, dancers were in there. I don't know why dancers are classed as digital media.
I do not know that either, unless they're digital dancers. Yeah,
the digital dancers. They're doing the old digital dance. For this course, you had to like make one project over the course of a year, and like documented everything. And you got kind of bonus points for working with people from different disciplines and like collabing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I think that's smart to encourage that.
Yeah, so I was like, there's some musicians there, there's some game design students there. I'm an animator boy. We can put together a game in a year, easy.
I would say so.
Yeah, so
I know people. Look at people at Game Jam. Most of them are trained devs, but they put together a game in 3 days.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, actually, I went to the Global Game Jam this year. Most people did not put together a game where I was. Anyway, so you have to like pitch a project and get approved, and then you can start working on it. So I pitched making this game, got it approved. It was a big process. And then I would go over to the game design students. And, they're very, very shy guys. And they've just been sitting there, like, they all know each other from the previous course.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, hi, like, I'm wanting to make a game. I'm an animator and stuff. Like, do you want to work together? And they're like, oh my God, thank you so much for, like, coming over and talking. Like, we really want to make a game, but we're too scared to approach people. Like, we really want someone, like, come start a game with us. I'm like, oh, great. Well, I was thinking of doing, like, the animation and stuff. And they're like, oh, yeah, great. And, like, and you're going to program it? I'm like, what? No, like, I thought you were going to program it. It's like, oh, I don't know how to program. So, like, what do you use to make games? Like, we've never made a game before.
Okay.
I'm like,
in 2 years of college, 2 years of university degree level, they haven't.
And I'm like, so what did you do for your previous, like, 2 years? Like, we pretty much just, like, wrote reports about, like, what games were like and, like, did a couple of sketches of, like, game characters. And, like, and you passed, like, a 2-year course.
That is not a course.
Right.
That's just something that you do in your spare time. I used to do that as a hobby. When we did a podcast, I don't have half of a degree, that's for sure.
And so, like, I was asking them, like, so if we work together in this, like, what do you bring to the table? And they're like, oh, well, we can give you, like, ideas, and then you can, like, make the game. No.
Mm-hmm.
And so, at this point, I've already pitched the idea, but then I realized, like, the team I was going to recruit were less available than I thought. And so
I wonder how often this happens in the professional world, like you Nintendo post the job listings, they're like, oh, we need programmers to work on the new Pikmin game, and like they get a bunch of applications, and the guy comes in the interview, sits down, they're like, yeah, so I'm a game developer, and they're like, okay, Nintendo, Mr. Nintendo, sitting there behind the desk. He's like,
love that guy.
Good to meet you. What are you going to bring to the table? What have you coded before? I've never coded anything before. Oh, okay, so are you a graphic designer? Oh, no, I don't. Do you do animation? No, not animation. Okay. are you a story writer? No, I'm not a writer as such. What I thought I could do was give you ideas.
Yeah, I'm an idea guy. I'm the next Kojima.
Yeah, I'm going to make Pikmin into the most branching, deep story you've ever seen. Because I'm all about ideas, and there were 4 of them as well. 4 guys in a row.
I mean, think of all the ideas. One guy is going to have enough ideas, but 4 of them.
I think you missed out. You should have met those guys.
It was a mistake.
And taken all their ideas on board.
So, like, basically, after that, though, it was like I either have to go through the entire process of making up a new plan and repitching it and finding new people to work with, and then maybe risking that again, which honestly would have been the smart move.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, it could have been the smart move, but it could have also been dumb as fuck. You could have been like, well, okay, I'm going to make a music video, so I just need a song, and I will make the animation to go around the music video. It'll be the new Christopher Walken in Weapon of Choice. It's going to be the most revolutionary music video that anyone's ever seen.
That was a pretty revolutionary music video.
It was, man. It was dope. It was cool at the time. It's one of those ones that's always stuck with me. I don't know why it popped into my head just then, but it did. So, you approach some guys from the music course, and you're like, okay, I want to make a music video. They're like, oh my god, thank you so much. That's what we wanted to do. We know how to go about it. So, and you're like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. I'll do the animation. You do the music. And they're like, I don't know how to make music.
Could you just learn like all of the instruments real quick instead of us doing it?
I thought you were going to make the song. What were you going to do? I've got some ideas for songs. I thought maybe we could have one that went dum 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 dum.
That's a good idea, though.
You know what I mean? Like, isn't that a smart?
It's like the intro to Dr. Mario right there.
Yeah, diddly. But you could have ended up going down the same track. So what did you do instead?
Instead, I stuck with the plan I pitched, but I decided, like, instead of like teaming up with other people, I'm gonna just learn how to do all of their jobs better than they can. And, like, I think that's like maybe it's a bit of a character flaw here, but I think the biggest motivator in my life is just being angry.
Yeah,
I'll just like avoid doing stuff until like somebody's like slates me, and then I'm like, I'll fucking show them. Like, look at this, I'm gonna learn how to do their job.
Somebody suggests that you might not be able to do it better than they could.
I'm gonna make a game just to spite them.
We'll see about that. Yeah. So what you're saying basically is last week is born out of spite.
Yeah, everything I do is born out of spite.
Essentially, born out of spite.
So, like I got to work on this game. You know, to be fair, I want to make a game for years, and just, I wasn't spiteful enough to actually do it.
Yeah, we've both talked about it, man, and obviously you've got the skills in terms of creating.
Well, I didn't at the time
and stuff like that. Like, you've done a lot of stuff in animation and things like that. So
in animation,
it's not the same, but it's somewhere to start. It's a leg up. It's a starting point, isn't it? You know how to work with software. You know how to set your time and stuff like that in order to complete a project. And it's important to have all of those skills on the table when you go into making a game. But it's a hell of an undertaking to decide to do it by yourself.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mistake, honestly. So okay. I noticed, like, after I was finished, I may have already showed you this, but there's a guy on YouTube, because the game was finished, I was uploading it to Steam, and I just wanted to know about like pricing and stuff for different countries. Mm-hmm. So I had a search for it, found a YouTube video on it, and then every single time I went on YouTube, there was a picture of this guy's like sad face, and with the like on the thumbnail had the title written like, "Why you should never dev alone." It's like, you could have told me that like a couple of years ago when I started this.
Before I started.
And like,
yeah, and I mean, I suppose if you're doing it as a main job and you expect to reap huge rewards out of it, and you want to meet deadlines and get a game published, in the eyes of a massive audience, then yes, it probably isn't the best idea to do it all alone. But I think you undertook a project that you had a passion for, and I honestly don't think that anybody could have helped you make this project better than it is.
Let's hope.
I mean, maybe that's an overstatement, because you could more polish and stuff like that could have been possible if you had a bigger team or whatever. But I think this was a project of passion and very much a personal project, and I understand where you're coming from. I think it is probably stupid to try and develop a game on your own, but I respect that you did do it by yourself?
I ended up watching that video because it was like literally it's just always on the front page. It wasn't like a random selection of videos. It was always like a random selection of videos and this one. It was there every time taunting me. So I watched it just to get rid of it.
They love to do that on YouTube.
And he's kind of talking about like motivation, like most people can't push themselves to do something. And so, that's why you shouldn't develop alone, according to him. You should have a team so you're always like pushing each other and like working together. It gets it done in a shorter time period, so it's not like, hey, here's years of doing one task over and over again.
Yeah, I can understand that. I totally see where he's coming from. Like, for example, what we're doing right now. I mean, how long might it have taken you to actually sit down and record this video if we weren't sitting down and recording it together?
That's true. I'm terrible at recording.
Oh, hey, Bar, we were going to meet up and play some games tonight. Should we record that thing you were talking about? And then you're like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's fucking do it. So here we are.
The last video that I uploaded on my YouTube, I was actually going to make that to go along with the launch of the game. And then I put off doing it for like 2 months. So, yeah.
And this is what happens. I mean, it remains to be seen when... I'm not gonna say what today's date is, just in case it takes a few months to get this video out as well.
It's going to take like 5 months to edit this, don't worry.
Yeah, cool. But that's fine. It goes out there. It helps people understand the journey that you've taken, and like the same as that guy saying, "Don't develop on your own." Here's another view of it. If you're going to develop on your own, it's not going to be easy, but here's why I did it, and here's what I did, kind of thing. It's nice to have that flip side of the coin. Maybe somebody's going to have this in their feed when they're searching for game dev guides, and they're going to watch this, and they're going to think, if that guy can do it, I can do it too, because I'm angry. I can bet that guy.
Yeah, that's what we've got to be really offensive in this, just to really inspire people. It's not going to be like, hey, here's how I made a game, give you advice. It's going to be like, I made a game and you didn't, because you suck. Prove
my
me wrong.
Game is better than the game that you haven't made.
Yeah.
And it always will be until you make a game, you non-game making loser. I tell you what, I'm sitting here myself, I'm thinking, you know what, I've always wanted to make a game.
Well, that's the things, like, I wanted to make a game for years, but, there's just that one thing that was always in the way, which is I have no idea how to make a game. It gets in the way a little bit.
So how did you go about doing something about that?
Well, I mean, the first thing was I had planned out. And there's a whole bunch of different bits of software out there for planning and staying organized. Some really, really cool things. I use this. It's a bit of an underground program. You may not have heard of it. It's called Microsoft Word.
Okay. Is that like Google Docs?
It's kind of like that, but it's a very old school.
Yeah, it's probably like a cheap version of Notepad.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So I just like, because he has a lovely image you can see of all of the many, many pages of scribblings.
Oh, wow.
Now, there should have been like some more organization, actually, like, planning things out, but so I just wrote like a madman. And I wrote all those pages and then like a few more, and then on top of that, like all the characters' profiles and stuff.
I can't read any of it because it's too low res apparently, but yeah, man, that's a lot of pages.
So if you actually do want to make a game, I do not recommend doing that. I mean, it worked fine for me, but it just seems like a terrible idea in general. But after the whole thing with trying to get a team together and having to come up with a new plan alone and design my own game instead of having the game designers do it.
Yeah. Those bastards.
I was running a bit low on time for my original deadline. Because like every month you had to like show what you'd worked on so far, improve your progress. Yeah. And like literally for my first deadline, I cheated and just did this instead. So this is actually done in Cinema 4D. I just animated it and pretended I coded it.
You've used what you know to achieve a result. That makes sense.
So the first version of the game wasn't actually a game. It was just like pretending to be a game.
It was an animation.
Yeah, but I still coded it, and I wrote like the pseudocode of like, hey, this is how it works, and it was that same pseudocode. It's like what I made for the real game. So I guess this is kind of planning, even though it was more just like cheating my way through my course.
Yes, but isn't life just a series of cheating your way through?
That's a very optimistic way to look at it.
Like, you get things done in unorthodox methods, and nobody can argue that you got the job done. Like, it exists. It's here it's here physically. You can see it. You can look at it. All right, you can't play it, but you can now. So
I mean, not that version. You can't.
No. I like the art style in that version.
Yeah, it's I should have stuck with that. Really, I made a mistake adding like actual characters
sort
and
of
things.
A game of life vibe. To
Yeah. So yeah, I handed that in. I found out people suck, so you shouldn't work with them. That's the main moral of this entire process. Was people suck. Remember that, okay? It's going to become important in later episodes of this. It's going to come.
Everybody,
it's going to come up a
down.
lot.
The key point to take away: people suck.
So I think after that, like the big thing to do was just pick an engine. And if you're an indie dev, there's 2 engines you could pick from.
Yeah.
There's Unity and Unreal. I know there's actually a million engines, but let's face it, you're going to pick one of them too.
You probably, you most likely are. You could work in Blender has a game engine built into it. You could work in Flash. You could work in Java, but
no one works in Flash these days. Flash died.
Yeah, well, it's still hanging on, kind of, in a way, but yeah, it's on its way out. And everybody who works in Java just bemoans it. Well, I'm sure there are people out there who love Java, but fuck me.
Yeah, like I go and hang out with like a lot of game devs now because I'm in that scene these days.
Yeah,
every one of them just bitches about Java non-stop. It's a weird. Like, why do you all keep using Java and then saying how much you hate it? Like,
well, I know Unity and Unreal are both free engines, and they're incredible. The stuff that they can do is amazing, and they're such powerful and, to an extent, simple to use tools.
Yeah, I was surprised at how simple Unreal was to use. Like, I think that was the big thing. So I was looking at the 2 of them, and the big perk of Unity is there is a million tutorials for anything you want to do. If you're like, I want to make an airplane game, you can go online, type in Unity airplane game, and you will find a step-by-step guide how to make the entire game.
Yeah, but it'll be the same as the game that someone else made.
Yeah, but like I felt like with Unreal there was less of that. There was some of it, but like not as much. But it had the whole blueprint coding thing, and that's great for me because some days I can't even spell my own name. So. Well,
I've spoken to people on both sides of the fence. People who love both Unity and Unreal. A friend of mine who is in game dev, he swears by Unity. He says it's the best.
Yeah, Unity is great, honestly.
He got me working in it. He got me working in it briefly, and I did one of these. No, it wasn't a game, but I created a paddle that could bounce a ball, and then I made that paddle that could bounce a ball 3-dimensional, so it could bounce a ball forwards and backwards as well. And that's like one of the base tutorials in Unity. But even someone like me can do that, who has no degree, no training at all in any of that kind of software. I mean, I can use software. I've been using computers my whole life, but the fact that I can go in and do that, it speaks volumes for how simple and easy to use it is. But then through the podcast and stuff, we spoke to a lot of people, and one of the guys we spoke to at White Paper Games, he swore by Unreal, and he wanted to do everything in Unreal, and for him it was the greatest engine that ever existed. And they actually made the game that they made that we spoke to them about at the time, Ether 1. They made it in Unreal, but then the new version of Unreal came out, and they actually ported the whole thing into the new version of Unreal because it gave them so many more options. And I think both these platforms, Unity and Unreal, are growing at such an exponential rate all the time that they give you more and more options, and it becomes not easier to make a game, easier in a way, but it becomes more accessible, and you can do bigger and better things all the time with these engines. And Unreal, I think, again, I'm talking about it in layman's terms, but I think from what I've seen, Unreal can do more impressive things than Unity. Unity is maybe a little bit wider ranging and a little bit more accessible, as you say, but Unreal seems to be more powerful.
Yeah, maybe. Right? I don't know the specifics of both. I've barely used Unity, but both seem pretty great, honestly. And as you say, it's like so easy to learn. Like I wasn't a programmer before doing this. I never made a game before. And I just found it like really easy to pick up. I watched maybe 2 YouTube videos of just like the basics, just so I can get like the layout and how it all works. And then from there, it was mostly just trial and error. And like a lot of time, if you just, hey, how do I do this? You type in like half of what it is you need. It'll come up with a little node that does it for you.
Yeah,
it is shockingly simple.
But that's how 90% of IT jobs work, isn't it? Like any kind of IT, any software, coding, engineering, 90% of it is, I'll Google it, Like I've blagged my way through many jobs where I've been responsible for companies' IT, And all I have is a vocational certificate of education in IT, which was granted in like 2001, so it's completely irrelevant on paper now. But because I have this amazing skill where I can ask Google how to fix something. Like, it's that whole generational thing, isn't it? Your grandparents think you're a technical wizard because you know how to change to HDMI 3.
Right.
It's you just Google it, like, and yes, that's downplaying it. The skills that these people who work in these fields have are immense, but yes, a lot of them are on GitHub and Google looking for the answers. And
after the pandemic, you're going to go to try and find a new job, and the one person who watches this video is going to be the guy who's going to hire you and say, nah, I know he doesn't know anything, he's just Googling it now.
My real name is not attached to this video in any way, shape, or form.
His name is John Smith.
John
Smith. He lives at this address.
From 3 West Drive.
So that sounds real, right?
Perfectly legitimate. So what was the next step then? You started working in Unity.
I mean, that was pretty much it. Honestly, I started working in Unreal.
Unreal, yes.
Yeah, I had the whole thing planned out. I think that's it's pretty much all the intro stuff done. We should record the next time for actually making things.
Making the game, okay. So
yeah.
You don't want to move on to talking about that right now.
We'll do it bit by bit.
Did you use any other planning software? Or did you just use Word?
Just Word. It was a terrible choice. I mean, it wasn't, because it worked well for me. But like,
everybody's talking about Lucidchart now. Lucidchart's where it's at when you plan and shit, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of good planning programs that I just didn't use because I was in the zone, I was like, I just want to get these ideas out and just start mashing away at the keys. And then I had 20 pages of notes that I had to sift through.
Yeah, and it was like, you started sending me stuff and it was on a regular basis. You were sending me the updated version of the game because you were obviously in this zone. And,
I remember once I sent you a game, like a version of the game, and then you didn't really have time to try it at the time because you were you're busy with the kids and whatnot.
I think I was in the process of moving.
Yeah, and then you came back and okay, I'm ready to play it now. I'm like, he has a new version. Don't
exactly.
play the old one.
Yeah.
I know I haven't had a chance to boot it up yet, but I've already made another one.
4 versions old. I think it might have happened overnight once as well. Because we were in different time zones, and you sent me a link. Play this, and then before I'd even seen that message, and before I'd even gotten out of bed, I looked at the next message, and it was like, no, use this version instead. And changed it again.
So I was like, that's the worst thing, because I'll make a version and then ask you to test it, and then I'll be playing around with it and I find a million bugs. And how did I not find this before I sent it to him?
Can't let him test this version.
Yeah,
pull it down. Get it off Mega Upload.
But so yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the planning phase, which honestly was a terrible planning phase. There wasn't really much to talk about this entire intro. What we should have done is introduced who you were. That's what we should have done this episode. We should be like, hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Balbot, and I'm joined here by Eremenko. He's a guy who used to run a podcast about games and knows a lot about games.
I play a lot of games. No, there's a big difference between playing it and knowing a lot about it, isn't there? But yeah,
he didn't actually work on this game, but no, I'm terrible at recording myself, so he's just here to keep me company.
I'm a volunteer, yeah. And now you're gonna go back and cut out everything that I said anyway, and just
just me talking to myself,
explaining what happened. So,
but I'll still address you.
Yes,
so
there's
just me, but I'm like, hey, shut up a second, okay? I'm trying to speak here. So anyways, I told you to shut up.
That'd be funny. So, were you going to record the outro and post as well?
Well, I thought we'll have a nice little segment at the end, okay?
Okay.
Keep it fun, keep it spicy.
I love a fun spicy or spacey. Let's not go back to your previous.
Let's keep it Kevin Spacey, okay?
Keep it Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey. So I thought it'd be nice to look at the comments of the previous video and answer any questions people had.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea, man.
There were no comments. So
let's
just pretend, okay?
Yeah, keep it real, man. Let's pretend there are some comments to answer.
I'll look at a different video.
What about on Steam? Is there any questions on Steam?
There was one guy who managed to break the game. He bought the game, set the resolution higher than his window size, so it was super zoomed in. and you couldn't say anything.
Yes.
And then he messaged saying like it's broken. Your game doesn't work. Like, I need a way to fix this. So I went off and made a patch within 2 hours. Like, I responded to him right away saying, here's how you can fix it at the cost of your save data if you haven't started yet. But if you want to just wait for like me to make a patch, I'll make a patch with a fix just for you. And I had it done within 2 hours and uploaded. And by that point, it already refunded the game. It's like, wow, it couldn't wait like 2 hours. No other dev would respond that quick.
No,
I feel.
Absolutely not. Like, other than like small indies like yourself and a one-man studio like you, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Okay, let's look at the comments on. We'll just look at the comments in general. Maybe not that game. Here's a top comment on Animal Crossing. When a female tries to imitate a male orgasm. 152.
That's your Animal Crossing video.
That's one commented on it.
Side A or side B?
That's side A. That's such a side A comment, you know.
So let me just mute this. 150.
I'm gonna go to these comments. Like, I shouldn't. Like, every one of these is just about like Brewster doing horrible things to.
YouTube is a very strange place.
This was a terrible idea for a segment. Okay, here's a better segment. Okay. We'll play a game with the tags. I mean, this channel's dead. I haven't uploaded anything in a long time, 4 years. And so, we've got to revitalize the channel. We're going to bring it back from the dead. The most important thing on videos, I mean, back 4 years ago, I don't know what it is now, but back 4 years ago, the big deal was tags.
Yes.
And you always had people's description boxes filled with like 1 million words just to get the keywords in.
So that they weren't just using them in the tags, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I think for this video, we should add a tag that is going to, it's going to really make it.
Okay.
And then we'll do each video and see which is the winning tag.
The best tag.
Yeah. I'll go first this week. Okay.
Yeah, just to give me an idea of where we should be at with this.
Yeah, it has to be something vaguely related to what we talked about, which honestly could be anything because we went immediately off track. I don't even think we talked about the game much, but...
Did you ever listen to my podcast? Literally an hour and a half of two guys going off track. It's three guys going off track consistently.
Okay, tag for this episode is people sucking.
People, okay. yeah. I think that's probably going to get some hits. I think that's probably going to get some. Maybe not the kind of hits that you want, but it's probably going to get some hits.
All hits are good hits, right?
True enough.
Let's go with people sucking for this episode, right? We'll see how much that affects the viewings next time. Probably not at all, but we'll see. And next episode, you can make the tag, and we'll see who does better.
I can't wait. And if you are watching this and you do have some questions about developing a game solo, please feel free to fire them over to Balbod. I won't be able to answer them, but he might.
Honestly, I kind of just like the idea of looking at Animal Crossing comments every week.
And just picking a random one out of your Animal Crossing video.
They're all awful. Let's just go with that.
The first one was pretty nice. It was I hate it when my favorite animal friend leaves, and that's one of the things about Animal Crossing. There's people who will be rediscovering right now. Actually, appropriate. Go and watch Balbod's Animal Crossing videos because they're really funny. And I haven't played the new one, but I'm fairly sure that those still apply.
It's good stuff. A lot of it doesn't apply anymore, though. Sadly,
it does not. Is it changed that much?
It's changed quite a bit, but
because my kid's playing the one on the DS. Not New Leaf. The one before that.
Wild World, exactly. Yeah. She's playing that right now, and pretty much the same as what I remember. New Leaf. I mean, New Leaf being the only one that I spent any real time. The videos I made were based on Wild World, though, so
they were okay.
Yeah, them games are weird.
It's such a good game, man. And we're not here to talk about good games, but I really want to.
We had to talk about my game, okay?
That's not what I meant, but yeah, fair enough. No, I do. I really want to get the new Animal Crossing. It looks so good.
So, that's a good point to end it at, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's end it here before we start talking about Animal Crossing for several hours.
End the recording now. All right, man. Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Okay.
And we're back.
One thing I forgot is the game dev students. The guys who sucked really bad.
Yeah, those guys, they sucked.
I feel like I'm being really mean to them, but they were pretty terrible.
Well, game devs who can't make games, when you're an animator who can make a game, I think, it's part of this. It's part of this whole function, isn't it? Of you trying to piss people off.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. I'm
to go out there and make a game.
I'm not just an asshole doing it like I would love, I swear.
Exactly. It's like Mr. Miyagi, the classic example in Karate Kid. He's like trains Daniel-san without him even realizing that he's doing it. It's subconscious.
That's me.
Inspiration.
I've regularly been called Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Subconscious Inspiration.
Yeah, that's me. I've had $1 for every time I've been called that. Ooh.
Exactly. I mean, you subconsciously inspired me to change heroes all the time in Overwatch. It's like, Balbot does really well as D.Va. I'm going to play D.Va.
That's the worst thing. Whenever I played like Overwatch with all you guys, like, because I was doing well, everyone would like take my character and then I can't play them anymore. And so I pick a new character and start doing well as them. Like, okay, I've got the hang of this. And everyone's like, well, he's doing well with them now, so I should take that one too.
I'm gonna switch, yeah. I actually wasn't really the most criminal of that because I tended to stick to Reinhardt or Lucio because I can't shoot for shit.
Mandy was the main culprit, let's be honest. She took literally every one of my mains.
Yeah, I can boop and I can hit things with a hammer, so that's my wheelhouse is done. Like Tjorborn, Reinhardt, and Lucio. That was about it. Although actually, when Pirgith first came out, I'd just moved to Sweden. I was like, yes, I'm going to play as the Swedish character, the other Swedish character, and I did really well as her. But I think everybody who played as her at the time did really well as her.
I mean, it's kind of like just hold left click and you're good.
Exactly, yeah. So anyway, we started recording.
And then immediately went off track.
And then, immediately. We wanted to try something out, right?
So, the game dev students, I was like, what happened to them?
Yes.
A year goes by.
What did happen to them?
Like, the course was an absolute mess. There was 4 teachers for 300 students, and 2 of them quit. And so, the whole thing was a mess. I had like 4 lessons the entire year. And
I'm hearing that this is a serious problem at that college still today.
Yeah, the college is a mess in general. So at the end of it, out of the 4 game dev students, there was 1 left. The other 3 had quit. And he was failing bad. And so one of the 2 remaining teachers was like, hey, like, we don't have time to help everyone here. And you're doing really well. You've got distinctions across the board. You're a real smart cookie. And you're doing the gamey stuff. Can you go and tutor this guy who's from the game dev course? And like get his project like up and running, sort of thing. So, I really don't want to. Because, again, I'm an asshole. But I thought, I'll be nice. I'll go do it. And I went and met up.
So you stormed in there, you were like, you're terrible, you're never going to make a game. Make him angry.
I had to contact him, even though he was told to contact me. I arranged to meet up and stuff. And then he's like sitting there like, he's like so like afraid of like speaking to anyone. He was like the most negative stereotype of who you think of when you think of a game dev. And like I go in, I'm like, oh, so like what have you been working on? Like for this year? Like I've been told I've got to come like help you fix it up. It's like, oh yeah, like I've been working on this game for this year, but it's like it's not quite working right and stuff. I'm like, okay, like let's see what you've got. And I remade, like I've got such a vivid memory of what he made. I remade the entire game last night in 20 minutes of what he spent a year on. Okay, I sent it to you.
But you did spend in the interim. You did spend 3 years making.
I mean,
the
yeah.
game yourself.
Wait till you see. Like open up the game.
Yep, amazing.game.exe. It might be a virus, but I'm choosing to trust you on this.
I haven't seen a virus this time. Next time.
Okay, here we go. A vast cyber capture is running over the top of it anyway, so you wouldn't be able to fire it. So I've got a red guy in the middle of the screen. I've got some smiley faces, a derpy face, and a circle. And
this is what I was presented with when I asked what he spent a year working on, and it was the default document size of Flash, where it's like the weird aspect ratio, tiny window.
Yeah, that tiny little square.
You had the lovely.
It's like I think my antivirus has stopped it from running. I think it has crashed now. I'm just telling it that I trust this file.
You've got the lovely pixelated images on the right where he's kind of just grabbing from Google.
I did have, but now I've lost everything.
It's such a shame. It's a masterpiece of a game as well. And so like I'm clicking around, and I'm like, it's like what do I do? He's like, oh well, the way it'll work is you click the face on the right and it replaces the character's face, so you can like choose which character you want.
Okay.
And like I look on the right, there's 2 images taken from Google and a blank one that he hasn't quite designed yet.
Yeah.
And I'm clicking them and nothing's happening. He's like, oh yeah, I haven't got that programmed in yet. I'm like, oh, so like what else does the game do other than like choose a character? He's like, oh, nothing, that's it.
Wow. And you were assigned to help this guy. Okay, because I did get that experience. I tried WSD to move around. I tried the arrow keys to move around, and then I tried to click the faces, but nothing happened.
The entire game was you click a face, and then it selects that as the face of your character, who is like a little circle with like lines for arms and legs. That was the entire game he spent a year on, and he couldn't get it working.
He obviously wasn't doing anything. Like, he wasn't doing anything. Like, if he didn't even have an idea. Like, that's not even an idea. The guy who told you that he could give you ideas, right. His idea was a character selection screen from a game.
I don't know how we spent a year doing that. I'm as baffled that I managed to learn how to make an entire game in that time period.
Well, I for one feel that you made the right decision to develop on your own. No matter what that guy on YouTube says about never solo developing, you made the right choice, my friend. 100%.
Yeah, that was the only reason we started recording again, is I put the whole 20 minutes into making that, and so I wanted to really show off the genius of what that game was.
Because those 20 minutes are valuable. You could have been making a YouTube video in that time.
Right. And I totally would, and I wouldn't have wasted that time. I wouldn't have put off making that video for like another 2 months, I swear.
Yeah, speaking of wasting time, it's been great having this discussion with you, but I think we need to go off and play some games.
Sounds good to me. Let's go.